Game 2 for Nuggets OKC was bloody. I believe there were two main reasons for this. I think something clear changed between Game 1 and Game 2. Let's discuss what it was. Denver's best player is going to be Nikola Jokic. Everything around their offense needs to revolve around him for them to be able to be efficient. The way that OKC is choosing to guard Jokic, I think, is a huge determining factor in this series. The first thing is in Game 1, we saw they were far too willing to have Chet stay with Jokic, and that is simply a mismatch that I don't think Chet can physically compete in. Now, the logic was you can have Chet on Jokic and have Hartenstein on Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon can help off, and essentially you have a free double on Jokic. The issue is Jokic is far too clever, I think, for this. You need to have something where you have a better defender one-on-one physically that can stop Jokic, because he's able to read the defense so well, and he could take advantage of the moment Hartenstein leaves or doesn't leave, and to use that to get easy buckets. He understands the game so well, understands body position, understands spatial awareness unbelievably well, and he's able to essentially use Hartenstein gambling right there to get the foul call on the way up. Not only this, but late in the game, we also saw, even when they had Hartenstein on Jokic, OKC was far too comfortable conceding switches on ball screens or dribble handoffs. Hey, there's going to be a little bit of tension here where Jokic creates contact with Lu Dort, and OKC was simply willing to allow that to be switched if Jamal Murray engaged with Hartenstein. While this wasn't directly a switch, essentially in the chaos that ensued with Braun being in here, it led to a switch. I think SGA probably should have just stayed with Braun, and then Hartenstein could have closed out there. But because of the miscommunication, it leads to SGA beyond Jokic, and that is a win for Denver every single time. And Jokic is going to have his way, going to get very efficient shots, and he did at the end of Game 1. Again, so to begin this possession, we could see Jokic is on Hartenstein. Ball screen is set. Because Hartenstein gets engaged by Jamal Murray goes after him, which is smart on Denver's part. You get the switch. Hey, this is not what OKC wants. Absolutely not. Hey, Jokic is going to take advantage of smaller players. He takes advantage of players his own size, let alone players that are undersized. And I don't think there's a guard in the league that without assistance will be anywhere close to stopping Jokic on offense. So then in Game 2, what did OKC do different? So first off, when Chet and Hartenstein were in the game, Chet wasn't on Jokic. They didn't play around with that anymore. They said, Hartenstein, you stay on Jokic. This allows for a more physical defender to be with Jokic, and you can still send the help, but he has the physicality to begin with, and that makes it so it's much harder for him to get A, good post position, get downhill, whatever it is, and then 2, we see both on this clip right here, is whether OKC is going to switch this. We saw at the end of Game 1, they simply switched it, and Hartenstein would go with Jamal Murray. Game 2, Hartenstein does not settle for that. Instead, follows Jokic, Lu Dort being physical, good there, but Hartenstein follows that, and they trust the rotations behind it. So that being said, another key aspect here is OKC is saying that we're okay with Chet helping off and just leaving Aaron Gordon. Hey, that's a big aspect. Frankly, they left Russell and maybe Christian Braun as well. They are okay with giving that shot up in exchange for having Hartenstein more on Jokic. And all right, what about when you don't have Chet and Hartenstein in the game? This I thought was interesting. I liked this a lot, frankly. Williams, an extremely physical player that was able to use his body to get into Jokic. I don't know what the weight is of Chet and Williams, but Williams is probably borderline the same thing Chet is. He's a little bit shorter, of course, but you can still have Chet help off and use his length as a rim protector and using the physicality of Williams to prevent Jokic from getting that initial position, which I think is so crucial for what Jokic does. 2, on this little hand screen ball screen right here, are they going to switch it? No. Okay? Sure, Williams is going to help off a little bit, but he's going to get back to Jokic. His priority is to make sure Jokic, and absorbing that contact right there is crucial. Chet would not have absorbed that. Okay? Chet would have fallen backwards, would not have been able to be that kind of physical, forcing Jokic into a more difficult shot. Yes, he makes that shot still sometimes. He's a really good player, but that's a more difficult shot than him getting 3 steps further because Chet can't contain the physicality. And this play in transition highlights why it's so important that OKC gets the desired matchups, because Michael Porter Jr. engages with Williams right here. it makes it much more difficult for anyone to be able to, essentially no one physical is left for Jokic. Chet, in fact, right here, decides not to take Jokic. Like, he could have gone to Jokic. Instead, he chooses to stay with Jamal Murray out here, which leaves the smaller Jalen Williams on the inside. This is a major, major mismatch. This is not what OKC wants. Ideally, maybe you could help off of Aaron Gordon here. However, giving Jokic the ball in the middle with a smaller guard, in game one, we saw exactly, he just went after SGA, went after Caruso, whatever it was. This is not going to work out for the defense, and Jokic gets a clean, easy look. So I think 100% a big storyline going into game 3, 4, 5, whatever, is who is guarding Jokic. OKC cannot switch, in my opinion. They have to stay true. They have to have Arkenstein or the physical Williams on him to make sure that Jokic doesn't get great post position. Otherwise, Jokic is going to eat them alive. That's what led to the comeback in game 1, and I think it leads to much more efficient shots for Denver on offense. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. But most importantly, have a blessed rest of your day.